Every throne of thorns thrown in your path eventually becomes the crown that cuts the hands of the one who cast it. That is the law of balance, the cosmic scale that never misses its mark. Chosen one, every force that tried to bury you only carved its own grave a little deeper. Life has a way of folding back on itself, ensuring no act of malice escapes the weight of consequence. Those who spend sleepless nights plotting your downfall are unknowingly sketching the blueprint of their own collapse. Critics think they're clever, whispering, mocking, setting traps in the shadows. But a simple truth haunts them. The universe does not forget. Every dagger they sharpen for you finds its way back to their spine. They throw dust to blind your vision, but in the end, it is their own lungs choking on the storm. Irony burns them alive. The very sabotage they hoped would stop you became the fuel that elevated you. Their hatred was the architect of your resilience. Their betrayal was the sculptor of your power. And here's what terrifies them most. You didn't just survive. You thrived. The chosen carry a presence that unsettles the insecure. Your very existence disturbs their sleep because it reminds them of everything they cannot control. They see your silence as thunder, your rise as an earthquake, your endurance as proof they were never strong enough to break you. Before we step into the truth they never wanted you to hear, do this right now. Hit that like button, subscribe, and drop the number 77 in the comments. Why? Because every interaction here makes this message impossible to silence. The more voices we gather, the harder it becomes for the liars and manipulators to bury the truth. And chosen one, if you're really who I know you are, you won't click away. You'll stay until the very last word, because deep down your spirit knows this message is your vindication, your proof, and your weapon. What they did to you was disgusting, but what happens next will leave them choking on their own schemes. Number 1. Spot the web of lies before it traps you, and let truth cut you free. Chosen one, listen closely. The ground didn't shake beneath your feet because you stumbled. It trembled because your presence was too unshakable for those who built their lives on lies. They couldn't handle the weight of your truth, so they tried to turn it into rubble beneath you. That's why they came after you. Not because you were weak, but because you refused to kneel where others bowed. When your light cut through their shadows, it exposed everything they tried to hide. Instead of cleaning their own dirt, they grabbed handfuls of it and threw it at you. They twisted your story until the lies dripped off their tongues like venom. They poisoned your name, thinking mud would cover the brilliance of your presence. But mud, chosen one, always carries a stench, and eventually people start to notice who has been standing in the swamp all along. You remember exactly how it felt. One day you were moving steadily, minding your path, working on your goals, and the next day the atmosphere around you turned heavy with whispers. Group chats you weren't even part of were buzzing with your name. Posts went up without tagging you, built from rumors and fragments of twisted stories. People you once called friends suddenly acted too busy, as if your very presence threatened the comfort of their silence. And while you tried to piece together what changed, they were busy feeding the fire with lies. And here's the sickest part. It wasn't bravery, it was cowardice. They didn't face you like equals. They didn't stand before you with their accusations. No, they moved like thieves in the dark, attacking your back so they wouldn't have to look into your eyes. They didn't want a conversation, they wanted an ambush. That is not confrontation. That is weakness dressed as power. But chosen one, let's be brutally honest. Their hatred wasn't random. They selected you because your existence disrupted their fragile world. Your very presence reminded them of what they lacked: strength without permission, progress without their approval, a voice that didn't bow to their rules. And because they couldn't control you, they tried to destroy you. That's how cowards operate. They mistake manipulation for strength and smear campaigns for victory. What they failed to realize is that every stone they hurled only revealed their own cracks. Every whisper they spread was a confession, not about you, but about them. Their desperation to keep your name in their mouths was proof that your presence shook them to the core. Think about it. No one organizes attacks against the irrelevant. People don't pour energy into silencing someone unless that voice carries the kind of weight they fear. So let's call it what it is. They didn't try to ruin you because you were wrong. They tried because you were right. They didn't turn against you because you were small. They did it because you stood taller than the lies they were hiding behind. And now, chosen one, their actions have already started to collapse on themselves. The same storm they thought would drown you is now the flood washing their false image away. Number 2. Beware the sweet words laced with poison and learn to taste the hidden venom. Chosen one, when their direct strikes failed, they changed masks. They realized the rumors, the ambush, the silent knives weren't enough to crush you. So they came back with smiles, honey dripping from their tongues, disguising the venom hidden beneath. They traded swords for whispers, daggers for compliments that cut deeper than any blade. That's the kind of disgusting game they play. They tell you, calm down, don't shine too bright, take it easy. They dress submission as wisdom. They call shrinking peace and surrender balance. But what they really mean is, we can't break your fire, so we'll trick you into extinguishing it yourself. That's their coward's tactic. Convince the chosen one to wear their own chains and call it freedom. Imagine a snake in the grass. Hissing is dangerous, but at least you see it. The true danger is the one that curls at your feet, silent, warm, pretending harmlessness, until the venom is already in your veins. That's how they moved, chosen one, quiet and calculated. But here's what they never understood. Every word they spoke only exposed their fear. People don't waste energy trying to dim a light unless it blinds them. They don't spend sleepless nights strategizing against someone irrelevant. The effort itself is proof of your power. And while they thought their poisoned whispers would weaken you, the opposite happened. You learned to taste the venom before it touched your lips. You saw through the disguise. Their soft voices only confirmed what they feared most, that you are untamable, untouchable, and unshakable. Number 3. Don't let them bury you. Rise stronger from every shovel of dirt. Chosen one, the most disgusting thing they did was try to bury you alive under the weight of their lies. They thought if they threw enough dirt on your name, you would suffocate in silence. But here's the irony. They weren't digging your grave, they were building the foundation for your rise. Every rumor, every twisted story, every false accusation was just another shovel that pushed you closer to the surface of who you were always meant to be. They don't understand that some people break under pressure, but chosen ones are forged by it. Dirt can cover a seed for a while, but what happens next? The seed splits the soil wide open and grows into something unstoppable. That's you. They wanted you hidden, forgotten, erased, but instead they created the very conditions that forced your strength to break through. Look at their tactics. They didn't confront you openly. They tried to smother you quietly. Silent exclusions, closed doors, group whispers. And while they thought you were shrinking, you were building power in the shadows. They buried you with intentions of destruction, but all they succeeded in doing was watering your resilience. The truth is, chosen one, you cannot bury what was born to rise. You don't stay underground, you erupt. And the more dirt they throw, the taller you stand. That's why the people are furious now. They see the injustice. They see an innocent person attacked, yet unbroken, and every eye that once looked away is now watching your comeback. Number 4. Read the fear in their eyes as proof of your power, not a reason to shrink. Chosen one, you've seen it. the way their faces tighten when your name is mentioned, the nervous glances exchanged as if your shadow alone unsettles the room. That is not coincidence. That is fear. Not fear of your mistakes, but fear of your strength. Fear that you, the one they tried to break with lies and manipulation, are still standing, louder and stronger than ever. They didn't curse your name because you were guilty. They cursed it because you refused to kneel when submission was the only language they understood. Imagine a storm rolling across a city built of fragile glass. The wind doesn't stop to ask permission. It simply moves, and the glass shatters. That is exactly how your presence disrupts their illusions. You didn't even have to strike. Your very existence was enough to expose every crack in their walls. The disgusting part? They tried to twist it into a story about you being dangerous, unstable, unworthy. But let's rip the mask off right now. If you were irrelevant, they wouldn't waste a single breath plotting against you. Their very obsession with your downfall is proof that you are the threat they never prepared for. So read the fear in their eyes for what it is. Not a warning for you to shrink, but confirmation that your rise is undeniable. They can whisper, smear, and sabotage, but the tremor in their voices betrays the truth. You are untouchable in spirit. And every time they try to drag your name down, all they do is remind the world that you were never theirs to silence. Number 5. Recognize desperation as confirmation of your strength and keep moving forward. Chosen one, look closely at how they moved against you. Notice the panic in every step, the way they clawed at the ground beneath your feet, trying to shake your balance. That isn't confidence, it's desperation. And desperation is always the final scream of the weak. When people believe you're irrelevant, they don't waste energy plotting your downfall. They don't stay up late rehearsing your name in their mouths. No, they save that kind of obsession for those powerful enough to disrupt their false foundations. That's why they gathered, whispering in circles, building alliances of lies, because they knew you were strong enough to undo everything they stood on. Think about it. If your presence was small, they would have ignored you. If your voice carried no weight, they would have let it fade. But the fact that they invested so much time, so much venom, just to paint you as the villain proves what they feared most. You mattered. And in their attempts to bury you, they exposed themselves. Every smear, every rumor, every silent scheme was a confession that you shook them to their core. So don't let their desperation trick you into doubt. See it for what it is, confirmation of your power. The only reason they fight you this hard is because they know they cannot control you. And that chosen one is the highest proof of your strength. Keep moving forward. Every step you take past their traps is another reminder to the world that their attacks failed, their masks are slipping, and their fear is louder than their lies. Number 6. When the crowd shifts against you, stand still until the walls fall on their own. Chosen one, there's a moment when the noise of the mob grows so loud you'd think the entire world had turned against you. Their whispers stack like bricks, their accusations pile like stone, until it feels like you're surrounded by walls closing in. But here's the truth they don't want you to know. Those walls aren't built to trap you, they're built to expose them. And when you stand still, calm and unshaken, those walls don't crush you. They collapse on the very ones who raised them. The people who joined the attack against you didn't question the lies, they just followed the noise. At first, they thought they were tearing you down, but chosen one, crowds are fickle. They love drama, they love a spectacle, but when the dust settles, they start to notice the cracks. They begin to wonder, why does your name never leave your enemies' mouths? Why do the ones who accused you look more desperate every day? That's when the tide shifts. What started as stones thrown at an innocent person turns into questions aimed back at your attackers. Their castle of rumors begins to shake, and every lie they told becomes another fault line. And you, chosen one, don't have to lift a finger. The universe has already designed the collapse. So stand still. Don't fight their noise with noise. Don't let them see you bend. Because the same crowd that once shouted against you will be the ones to watch the walls fall. And when the dust clears, you'll still be standing, strong, unmoved. Proof that the innocent cannot be buried forever, no matter how furious the mob once was. Number 7. Refuse the illusion of isolation and watch unity form around you. Chosen one of the dirtiest tricks your enemies play is isolation. They want you to believe you're walking alone, that no one cares, that every door has shut and every ally has vanished. That illusion is their weapon. If they can make you think you are abandoned, they can convince you to abandon yourself. But here's the truth. They failed. What they did to you was disgusting. They turned whispers into walls, slammed doors in your face, and tried to paint you as an outcast. They thought if they could isolate you, it would crush your spirit. But instead, that isolation became the stage where the world could see the injustice laid bare. And people are furious. The very crowd they hoped would stay silent is now beginning to roar. Unity always begins with exposure. When their cowardly attacks went too far, when their lies began to stink in the air, others couldn't ignore it anymore. At first, they watched in silence. But silence has a breaking point. And now, chosen one, your struggle has turned into a rallying cry. People see you as more than a victim. They see you as the proof of what happens when truth is attacked without mercy. And here's the irony. In trying to isolate you, they brought others closer to you. Because injustice has a way of waking people up. You were never as alone as they wanted you to feel. That illusion is crumbling, and as it falls, a force is forming around you, angrier, louder, and more united than your enemies ever imagined. Number 8. Build armor from your scars and let every attack break on its surface. Chosen one, every scar they tried to carve into you has become your shield. What they meant as a wound, life turned into armor. That's why every attack they launch now shatters before it even reaches your core. They thought betrayal would bleed you dry, but instead it hardened you into something untouchable. Think of it like this: a sword forged in cheap metal bends at the first strike, but a blade tempered in relentless fire becomes unbreakable. That's you. Every whisper, every rumor, every scheme, they were the flames. And instead of consuming you, they refined you. The disgusting part: they thought their ambushes would crush you. They moved in shadows, certain you'd collapse under the weight of isolation and lies. But the only thing that collapsed was their illusion of control. Their cowardice was supposed to be your undoing. Instead, it revealed your invincibility. Chosen one, scars are not shame. They are proof that you've walked through battles most people would not survive. They wanted those marks to be reminders of weakness. But the truth, they are battle medals, and each one terrifies your enemies. Why? Because they remind them that you cannot be broken twice by the same trick. Now when they swing, the impact bounces back on them. Their lies crack in mid-air. Their sabotage recoils. Their desperation backfires. They don't realize it yet, but every new attempt only adds another layer to your armor. And soon enough, the very weapons they sharpened will lie broken at your feet. Number 9. Turn their fire into your forge and wear the crown they meant to burn. Chosen one, the cruelty they unleashed on you wasn't meant to test your strength. It was meant to erase you. Every rumor, every whisper, every trap was designed to bury your name so deep that you'd vanish under the weight of their lies. But here's the part that has them trembling. The flames they lit to consume you only exposed what they could never kill: your core. Think of it this way: gold doesn't shine in the dirt. It shines after fire. and they, in their arrogance, became the very fire that refined you. Every attack they threw at you stripped away the unnecessary, the weak, the parts of you they thought you needed to survive. What they didn't expect was that you would step out of the ashes sharper, brighter, untouchable. The scars they hoped would shame you have become your proof of survival. A crown forged from the very flames they thought would end you. And doesn't that sting them? Their grand plan backfired. They worked so hard to break you, and all they did was build you. Their betrayal gave you strategy. Their lies gave you clarity. Their cruelty gave you endurance. Every wound they tried to carve into you became another weapon in your arsenal. Now, chosen one, every time they look at you, they see the fire that was meant to bury you glowing in your eyes. That crown on your head, it's the one they tried to melt down. The irony is poetic. The inferno they lit became the forge of your rise, and no matter how much they hate it, they will spend the rest of their days haunted by the truth. You were never destroyed. You were crowned. Number 10. Stop playing their checkers. Make them realize they've been on your chessboard all along. Chosen one, the ones who attacked you thought they were clever. They believed moving fast meant winning. They rushed in with gossip, with slander, with alliances built on sand, convinced that every small move they made was pulling you closer to defeat. But here's the truth. They were never in control. They weren't even playing the same game. They were sweating over checkers while you were already 10 moves ahead on the chessboard. They thought stripping pieces from your life, your friends, your opportunities, your reputation would leave you powerless. But you know better. Every piece they took was just a pawn sacrificed in a much bigger strategy. They thought they were erasing you, but in reality, they were clearing the noise, removing the distractions, and unknowingly carving the path for your next breakthrough. Their arrogance blinded them. They mistook activity for victory, forgetting that checkers ends quickly, but chess is about patience, positioning, and inevitability. And here's where the irony stings them most. Every rumor, every smear, every trap was a move they thought would corner you. Instead, those moves only exposed their desperation. The more they plotted, the more obvious their weakness became. By the time they realize they've been pawns on your board, it will be too late. The game is already decided.